Kyle Kuzma has decided to opt out of his $13 million contract with the Washington Wizards. What are some of the best possible destinations for him to go to? We're going to talk about it, break it all down right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
So in a move that was expected, especially with the new direction that it looks like the Washington Wizards are going to go in, Kyle Kuzma has opted out of his contract with the Washington Wizards. Last year, Kuzma averaging 21 points per game on 44.8% shooting, 7.2 rebounds, 3.7 assists, having one of his best statistical seasons as an NBA player. And so now Kuzma is going into unrestricted free agency, and he's going to have a number of teams knocking on his door to get him to sign. Kuzma, who's had, seasons of being looked at as kind of a disappointing selection, getting away from the Lakers, really developing and rounding out his game last season to being probably one of the most complete versions of himself that we've seen thus far at his time being in the NBA. So it's now asked the question, what's going to be next coming up for Kyle Kuzma? Who's going to be some of the people and teams knocking on his door to get him to sign? And the first one up, we're just going to talk about it because there is a chance that it returns to the Washington Wizards. The Wizards can still offer him the most money, right? There's going to be a argument made for that, and they could, try to sign him to lock him in, to just re-sign him later, right? With Bradley Beal gone, him, Kristaps Porzingis are probably going out the door. Kyle Kuzma re-signing a possible long-term extension with the Washington Wizards, and them looking to move him elsewhere down the road is a possibility. He could lock in the most money. He's going to get tons of shots and maybe even up his value and look like even more of an acquisition, desirable acquisition by some other teams. Now, here's the thing, though. The Wizards are not going to be winning anything anytime soon. And because of that, at the end of the day, it could go with Kuzma being in the spotlight of that to be a more featured player, or it can go for him not to want to re-sign their long-term, and maybe instead of signing him and then trading him later, they look to do a sign and trade to send him to his destination of choice. But I do want to say that Washington Wizards re-signing him is a possibility. But again, it depends on the market for him. If he doesn't find the deal that he wants, he could look to do something like that. I don't ultimately think that that's going to be the team that he ends up on, but we're going to talk about some of the other teams here up next. And the first one that I want to talk about, a possibility, is the Indiana Pacers. Now, when you look at what the Pacers have, they already have a center in Miles Turner down there that Kyle Kuzma's skill set could look pretty nice to. You look at adding him to a core that has Benedict Mathurin, Tyrese Halliburton there, who's been shining, and Ben Mathurin, who showed so much in his rookie season as well, and just that dog mentality. Buddy Hield as well. You add in Kyle Kuzma and what he's been able to do, shooting, rebounding, to how Miles Turner plays defense, block shots, and has an offensive game himself. Listen, I tell you what, the Indiana Pacers are a potential playoff team if they add Kyle Kuzma. And so while the Pacers have never really been a huge free agent destination, you look at the money that they're able to spend. They have tons of money available. And so they may be a little hesitant to pay as much money as Kuzma may try to get out in the open market. But again, from the basketball perspective, it probably offers the best fit as far as Kyle Kuzma's talent to pair with what they already have going on there in Indiana. So, and again, I hate that I'm a Bulls fan, so to, hear him go to a division rival isn't necessarily the best thing that I want to be saying, but it is definitely a possibility. Next up, the San Antonio Spurs. Again, the Spurs are another franchise that's going to have tons of money available. And because of that, with them drafting, Victor Wembanyama, who's more than likely, well, no, let me not say more than likely. Wemby is going to be the pick there, right? And so when you look at the fact of, the collection of talent down there that the San Antonio Spurs have, Kyle Kuzma could come in and be one of that. While he does, Kyle Kuzma isn't a perfect player at all. You look at maybe him, Kuzma views this as a chance to really grow his game under one of the great all-time coaches in Greg Popovich, and learn how to play and thrive in a system that is built to make players look the best possible. And so, yeah, the San Antonio Spurs haven't been much of a free agent destination lately either, but the hype around Wemby, them having their point guard possibly in Trey Jones down there as well if they re-sign him, the San Antonio Spurs could be an interesting destination because they have to spend a certain amount of money to get to the floor. They have tons of cap space available, and they could take a shot on a guy who is going to bring and possibly bring a lot of the skill sets they look at and could help ease off that load off of Victor Wembanyama as well. So that's another place to look for. Last up that we're going to talk about is the Houston Rockets. I really do think that the Houston Rockets, another team that has tons of money to spend. Now they have tons of forwards down there as well, but when you look at them trying to add a surefire thing, and they have $59.1 million in cap space, he can slide in there if they do trade Kenyon Martin Jr. He could slide in there, take those minutes, offer some more versatility in how they use him in that starting lineup as well. And it looks like they're probably a favorite to land Amen Thompson as well. So with that said, they could prioritize floor spacing at that next level. Now, Kuzma, not a great defender by any stretch of the imagination, but when you look at what the Rockets' timeline is, the fact that he will turn 28 next month as well, he could be a player that the Houston Rockets look at obtaining and bringing into that core. Let me know what you guys think on all that down below. Are there any other possible destinations for Kyle Kuzma that I missed? Trying to look at realistic ones. I already know Bulls fans are going to talk about the Bulls getting Kyle Kuzma, which is not a possibility. But with that said, let me know what you guys think on any other teams that could be interested in Kyle Kuzma this offseason. That's my time. Make sure you guys follow the show at NBA Central Pod on every social media platform. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, NBA Central Show at gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for mailbag episodes, 773-270-2799. We are hopefully going to be the number one spot for everything basketball related. And I'll see you guys the next time I feel like making a video. Probably tomorrow. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.